Hi there. Today I want to talk about the latest book by John Sandford, which is called The Investigator. Now, John Sandford has created many memorable female characters in his books. No, he really has done two series, the Prey series, Lucas Davenport, and the Virgil Flowers series. He has done some standalone books as well. But in the Prey series in particular, he created Clara Rinker, who was a female assassin. Not the kind that you see in the movies, but one who carried out hits for the mob, for organised crime, using usually a suppressed 2.2. And she featured in two books, and it was a terrific character. Weather, who's Lucas Davenport's wife, who is a surgeon and who actually saves his life with a tracheotomy in the book where he first meets her. Marcy Sherrill, who was a colleague in Minneapolis PD, who he'd had an affair with before he got married, and she was a tough female cop. And of course Ray Gibbons, who's the most recent one, as Lucas has joined the US Marshal Service, and Ray is a member of the Special Operations Group, and she's featured in the more recent books. And a while ago we were introduced to Letty, who was at the time a 12-year-old girl living in a rural area, and she was actually looking after her mother, had been taking care of her mother since the age of 6 by hunting for muskrats and raccoons and selling their skins. That's how she supported herself, by using a single-shot 2.2. And the plot of that particular book involved a very corrupt and bad police officer who actually kills Letty's mother and tries to kill Letty, and Letty shoots him on two separate occasions. And she's left orphaned, and Lucas adopts her, brings her back to Minneapolis, and him and Weather adopt her as part of the family. And life changes completely, and she has a totally different lifestyle, goes to college, etc. But her inner core is still a tough kid who's lived by hunting, supported herself and her mother, and has had a tough upbringing. So she's got that inner toughness. And the book, The Investigator, she is the star of that. So she's left college, and she's been working as an intern for a US senator from Texas, and she's rather bored doing that. And he realizes this and sees her potential, and gives her a job as a special investigator for him as a senator with credentials from the Department of Homeland Security. Now, to me, that's stretching a point a bit. In the previous books, Lucas Davenport, who went from Minneapolis PD into the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, and then due to the intervention of the governor and of a very prominent senator, was given a job with the Marshal Service. The reason being was they owed him a favour, and also they thought that it'd be useful to have someone in the Marshal Service that would do the odd political task for them. I can't see that motivation with this senator and Letty, why he would send her out armed with credentials to carry a firearm, with no actual formal training to do this. I mean, if she'd been killed, it would have all rebounded on him. Questions would have been asked. But that particular little plot hole apart, she gets this job, and she goes to the range with a guy who's supposed to mentor her on the range, called John Kaiser, who's an ex-Delta guy who works on the security side of the DHS. So they go along they don't hit it off. go along to the range. He's cheesed off at having to take care of this young girl for her first ever trip to a range, not realizing that she spent her entire life shooting, and since being adopted by Lucas, has had lots of exposure to firearms and training, and has become very, very proficient. And she's got a couple of her own pistols. So it turns into a competition, and you know, she kind of wins, or you know, it's debatable who's actually won depending on which way you look at the rules. But it does earn a certain amount of respect from John Kaiser. But then he says to her, look, range training is not the same as real life. And she points out she's already shot 3 people and killed 2, which kind of makes his jaw drop. You do get some of this backstory included in this book, so you don't have to go back to the other books to find out about it. Now, the plot of this story, and John Sandford is renowned for his plots. They're very believable because he populates them with believable characters and believable situations, which seem to be realistic from everyday life. And the central plot is about a very well organized militia group, and it's highly topical with what was been going on in America recently with right-wing militias. And these people have learned from some of the failures, for example the attack on the Capitol and so on, and they've learned how to mask their intentions and how to recruit using the internet. And they're massing a large group of militia supporters from all over the United States in Texas, and the idea is to strike against the immigrants, the illegal immigrants coming over the southern border in a spectacular strike, and then disappear back into the woodwork. That's the plot, and Letty is able to latch onto this. Now, although she doesn't have any formal training as an investigator, neither does Kaiser. Kaiser's, I don't know if I mentioned, he's former Delta guy. She has spent her entire life from the age of 12 listening to case histories from Lucas, who used to chatter over the kitchen table about how he solved cases and what you do and procedures and so on. So she's kind of absorbed this growing up. So, and she's also fairly smart. So she figures out how to investigate certain things, and they do sort of find out the main elements of what this plot's about. And they're coming at it from a different angle, actually. It's to do with the stealing of oil from the big oil companies, which the militias are doing for funds, and that they find that out. So there's that part of it, and it's a really good story. The plot is excellent. A couple of gripes. They're down in Texas, and they've only travelled with their pistols, and they decide they need long guns if they're going against these militias, and they have to buy their own. But Letty's got a credit card with a lot of money on it. But John Kaiser suggests they get a Remington 870 shotgun. It's the magazine-fed version, but nevertheless it's a shotgun. Now, I like shotguns, and they're great weapons, but it's horses for courses, and I can't really see that going up against militias who've all got rifles, and every pickup truck in Texas has got a rifle in. Very flat area, so it's long shots. Why you would choose a shotgun, particularly somebody with his military background from Delta, you know, who the long gun, the assault rifle platform, the M4 basically, or the HK416 would be second nature to him. That would be his primary weapon. So that didn't really ring true to me. And the other thing is they're always eating in McDonald's by choice. let's find a McDonald's. Now, Letty goes for 6-mile runs every day and does yoga for several hours, or as long as she can. And so she's really into health and so on. Why anyone would choose to eat fast food when you can go to, you know, a decent Whole Foods and buy proper food, real food. But that's just me, and, you know, I'm a little bit of a snob when it comes to fast food. Anyway, that's my synopsis of the book. It looks like it'll be the first of a series, and I hope it is. And I certainly look forward to the next one. Also look forward to the next Lucas Prey series, which is coming out soon. So enjoy.